Hi guys, it's Maciel Open Heart. Namaste. I hope that wherever you are at, you are trying to get to know who you are, because that's where the whole transformation begins, inside of us. Yes, sir. Okay. Today I wanted to talk about something that's been coming up on my newsfeed, and it's for a reason. I kind of take things as a sign, you know, when things are just popping up in front of me over and over. It's like just trying to get my attention. So I'm guided to make this video, and I'm just going to give my personal perspective on this and from my experience, okay? And this is the beautiful thing about getting to heal yourself and getting to know who you are, because when you're like lifting layer by layer of things that are not for your highest good, or when you're healing those parts about you that have been distorted and traumatized and programmed, you get this clarity of things, you know, and a higher understanding of things as you go. So as you lift these parts of you, and as you start to put things together like a puzzle that's been distorted and it's been scattered everywhere, you know, so you like kind of have to look in your house for all these pieces of the puzzle. And this is your inner home, right? Because everything is within you. So when you are looking for these pieces in your inner home, and you start to put them together, you get this this amount of this, you know, amazing amount of clarity, of understanding of you and of things, because, you know, the universe is inside of us. And this is why it's so important for us to get to know who we are and heal those different parts about us that need healing, so that they could be aligning to that true divinity of our being. And it's all about frequency. So when we are distorted in some part of us, then it's a frequency that's distorted. So we kind of have to transmute it and heal it so that it could align to its true divine source, right? Okay, so I want to talk about the ego. The ego has been coming up lately. And I don't know if I told you guys this before, but maybe about, I would say a month ago, I had a communication with my own ego, and I got to have a talk, and I got to really learn a lot of things within that aspect of me, because I have read a lot of stuff, and I've done my own research, and of course, you know, I wouldn't be here because of the research that I did and that awoke in me about 3 years ago. You know, it was like a big awakening for me, and something triggered that awakening. So from then on, I started to do research, but I also knew that the kingdom of heaven is within. So I wanted to really get to heal a lot of the stuff that distorted within myself, and it was a lot of it. Like, I was pretty distorted, and my ego was untrained, and it was very negative, and it was very controlling. And so throughout this whole awakening process and getting to heal those parts of me, I finally, after healing the child within, and then healing those distorted parts of me, I got to hear my ego. And so, you know, I've had read in other parts, you know, before even encountering my own ego and getting to really communicate with it, that I had to kill my ego, or my ego was my enemy. And every time that I would say this, I would always have this inner, just, you know, this resistance. Like, it was just like, like it wasn't feeling right, you know, and I would ignore it. So I would move on to the next part of letting go, of shedding. But I didn't want to touch that part of me yet, you know, throughout the awakening, because I wanted to first do the healing in order for me to get to that part, because I didn't want to kind of delete something that was told for me to delete through a book. Like, I wanted to come to that conclusion myself. And that is why it's so important for us to heal, because then we start to trust ourselves and our intuition. We start to trust the answers within ourselves, regardless of what other answers are out there. Like, you could read something on a book, but if it doesn't resonate with you after you've done your healing, then you know that it's not for you. So this is a beautiful part about getting to heal your inner self and getting to put all these aspects of you and creating this beautiful puzzle, this divine puzzle, okay? And so the ego was something that was created by us to keep us safe. Can you imagine if we didn't create the ego, if we didn't create this ego to defend us, to protect us, and to, say for instance, let me put you in this example, or let me put example on it, okay? You're in a dysfunctional home, and in this dysfunctional home, you were treated really bad, and every day you woke up, they kept telling you you were dumb, that you were inferior, that you were not going to be any good for the world, and so on and so forth, right? And so this is where the ego comes to play. We create this ego to basically stop us from dying, because a lot of the trauma can cause death. It causes death through an emotional breakdown. So if the ego was not created, we wouldn't have survived all the trauma. And this is why it was created, to help us. When we hit duality, when we hit this dense energy, when we were volunteering, we knew that this was going to be so. We knew that we were going to be distorted, that we were going to be tampered with, that we were going to lose a lot of our memory, and we knew this, but we were ready, and we were encoded, and we had. This is why our blueprint came about, and this is why they created this blueprint, and this is why we agreed, that this was going to be so. But we also knew that it was going to be. That it was not going to be easy, but when we got it, that we were going to be able to put our puzzles together within our being, okay? But we needed the ego to protect us, and it did a good job for a lot of us. I'm still here because of my ego. If it wasn't for my ego, honestly, guys, I would not be here. Like, I wanted out a lot of times. I went through so much in my life. Like, I went through so much trauma. I got to see my parents, been tormented by the duality energy, by the 3D duality, and we were sucked into it. So we fell into that, and so, of course, when I'm a little girl, I don't understand this. Now I have a higher understanding of things, and I know why these things happened, and why it happened to me. But when you're a little girl, you don't understand why these things are happening to you. And so if I wouldn't have created my ego, I would have went out. I wouldn't have kept going. Okay? So when I talked to my own ego, it basically told me, like, wow, like, I didn't know that you were actually ever going to acknowledge me. I thought that I was on my own, that you were never going to acknowledge who I was, the conscious me now. And so I started to cry because I felt like, it's been my friend, like, bad or good, it's been there to protect me. Bad or good, it's always been defending me, and that's all. It's a defend mechanism, It's like it's been trained by my conscious self to make it bad or good, And this is where we start to become team players within ourselves. And how are you gonna be a team player outside if you can't be a team player within yourself? And I totally understood, where this was coming from, and I totally understood what role it played in my life and what role it keeps playing in my life. And being able to integrate those parts of us together as a team player means so much, It raises our vibrations. It raises the frequency of ourselves, because that is embrace. We are embracing that, and we're healing that, and we're healing those parts of us that need healing, and are resurfacing in our lives to prove us something, that we can't be whole if we don't integrate all of those parts and heal the parts that are distorted or they feel neglected. My ego felt neglected. My ego felt that, you know, I was making it an enemy, and it's not an enemy. And if I cherish that and I retrain my ego to trust, to care, to be in harmony, to be in peace, if I believe in that, if I really believe that that part of me can be transformed, then it will be transformed, because it's up to me to make that happen. But if I'm constantly attacking my ego and putting it down and just making it seem like it's not good enough for me, then it's never going to be good enough for me, and I'm always going to be distorted. It's about bringing wholeness in our being. It's about putting all the puzzles together, like all of it, you know. You can't say, oh, my puzzle, it's been broken. Our puzzle has been broken. It's been distorted. You came to a very dense reality, and that reality existed because of the collective consciousness. Okay, so now we're raising our consciousness, but it means to raise it inside of you, because you can't change the world if you're not changed here. You can't transform outside of you if you're not transforming here. You can't, you know what I mean? So this is what I have to say. You don't have to believe me. What I write on Facebook or what I say on my videos, no one has to believe me. You need to just do your own transformation, and you need to go within yourself so you can have your own story to tell, and you can have your own experience, you know, because source is all of us. Source is in all of us, you know, but those that are aligning itself to that knowing and that are really doing the inner work are going to get a better glimpse of the divine truth, you know. And they're going to get a better glimpse of it. And it doesn't make people bad or good. It just basically is we're sharing our story. We're sharing our authenticity. We're sharing our truth. We're sharing our experience. And this is how we change the world. We change it through our experience. We change it through what we've been through. And how do we get out of that? How do we get out of the tunnel? How do we get to put these pieces together, you know? How do we get to be whole again? Because we can't be whole if we're always suppressing one side of us, and we're hiding it, and we're running away from it. It's not going to happen, you know? So this is what I have to say. And you know, just really search for the answers here. And when this is what happens, okay? When you are aligning yourself and you're healing yourself and you're shedding these layers and you're healing them, there's the magic that happens inside of you. And it's the shift of trusting, okay? Of really trusting yourself with all your heart, to come to know all of you and be whole. But if you don't trust yourself in getting to know who you are, and setting a time aside to stay still, to listen to that inner voice, and to trust that you have that inner knowing. You know, guides are good. Angels are good. They're good to help us. But if we're constantly always asking for their help and asking for what they think, we're not integrating our inner knowing. Yes, we're all connected, but in each and one of us, there's a universe, and it's all interconnected. Okay? I really embrace all of you, and I only share what I have to share because I really, you know, whoever resonates with my videos or what I have to share on Facebook, then great. And if not, then great too, you know. I'm just here to express my divine blueprint, my purpose, and that is what we're here for, you know, to speak our truth, okay? So, I mean, I don't know. Namaste. Bye.